One thing I wanted to talk about is that I've been noticing a cracking open around purpose lately. I don't know if something's going on astrologically, but person after person after person after person after person seems to be waking up to their calling. First of all, I'm curious, is this something that you're dealing with yourself right now? Have you experienced sort of a waking up to whatever your soul's purpose is? That'd be great. Let us know if so. And then for those of you who are feeling it, you're feeling on the precipice, you know that you have a purpose and it's poking at you, and you're wanting to kind of start getting started on it, because I think there must be something going on astrologically. I mean, that's my story. I love astrology, astrology, if I can say it correctly. Or maybe it's just something about our human evolution. There's a shift happening at play. So, for those of you who are wanting to ride that shift to find your purpose, I want to talk a little bit about ways that you can get started on that. Hi, I'm Jillian, reincarnation and energy guide, and I'm here to help you learn about this wacky life from a reincarnation perspective, the things that we're here to learn, how it all works, what our purpose is, what about these wacky relationships we find ourselves in, and help you navigate your life, or maybe just, learn a little bit more about how all this goes down. Okay, so there are really two things, right? One is those of you who already know what your purpose is or have kind of vague idea and need to get started. And then the second one is those of you who don't really know. I'm going to start with the don't really know, because we want to gear those people up to then take action. Sound good? Okay. So first, if you don't really know what your purpose is, but you feel like you have one, I'm specifically going to focus on things that are more in the career area. It might apply to other areas, but most of the folks that I work with that are looking for their purpose are really focusing on how can I find my job that really is in alignment with my soul? How can I start a business that's really going to make me feel fulfilled in my life? It's usually about how they are bringing out their own gifts and their own truth in a way that's helping other people, and also helping them feel a bit more fed in their life and on purpose, as I like to say, feel a little bit more on purpose. So, how might you figure out what it is? Well, first off, I will tell you from my life coaching days, I saw it over and over and over and over again. People already knew what it was, they just weren't giving themselves permission. They came to me and we would have a conversation, and I'm like, well, clearly this is what you want to do. But they're like, they feel like they can't do it. They have different fears that are holding them back. They worry about, well, does anybody really want that? Will people judge me? What will happen financially? That just doesn't seem reasonable. And you know what? Everything actually is possible and reasonable. Everything can happen. You just have to put some energy into it. I mean, I think what's not reasonable is living your life in Groundhog's Day. I mean, that's what I was finding myself in, waking up every day, going to a job, doing that work, coming home, getting up the next morning. I mean, what kind of life is that? At the end of my life, I don't want to look back and be like, well, I made a rational decision. I did what society told me to do. But man, I really missed out because I really wanted to do something else. And by doing that something else, I could really help a lot of other people. So that's first. You probably already know what it is. One of the things I like to do this one exercise with folks, and I call it the 10 lifetimes exercise. And what it is this is fun. Just have some fun. Go ahead and write down, and you can pause the video, write down, if you had 10 lives, write down what you would do in each one of those lives. So maybe in one life you would be a monk. Maybe in another life you'd be a writer. Maybe in another life you'd be just wealthy as all get out and not have to do anything. It's just a fun exercise. It doesn't have to be actually what you were in past lives or what you actually want to be in next lives, although it certainly can be. But go ahead and write out, if you were able to live different lives, what it would be. And it could be at this time period or another time period. There are no rules. Follow your heart on how you want to do this exercise. Okay, go ahead and do it. Once you've done that, go through and look at each one of those different things, each one of those different occupations. And now I want you to write down, what is it about that life that occupation, that whatever it is that excites you about it, that you like about it. Maybe it's like solitude, or maybe it's helping others, or it's self-expression, or whatever it is. As you look through those, go ahead and do it first. Like, don't analyze it while you're doing it, just let it out. And then step back and look and go, okay, here are my themes, right? Here's what my soul is wanting to have expressed in this life. Look at those things. Those can then be a clue. So I'm going to ask you, what are they telling you? What are they telling you that your soul is asking, that your heart is asking, is wanting to do? There is something in all of that that is true. That is true to you, and that is a clue about what your purpose is. So you can take that information and you can look, well, what jobs are out there that kind of encapsulate all of this? You might need to do some research on the internet. You might need to ask some friends. You could put it into ChatGPT if you want to go the AI route and say, here's all this stuff. What sorts of jobs or roles have these as components? But I will tell you, more often than not, you actually kind of already know what it is. I know I've said that before, and I'm saying it again on purpose, because you're probably just not giving yourself permission, because maybe it's not a job that actually exists. Reincarnation coach, reincarnation guide, that's not something that actually existed, but I knew back from the beginning that that's really what it always was for me. And I kept on telling myself that it wasn't okay for me to do that. And so I kept on creating these other things to be like, well, people will want somebody to organize their space, or, oh, life coach is a thing, right? And that's okay. There is something about taking a step forward, even if it's not in the right direction, that moves you forward, right? Because you're not going to get there by standing still. But if you take a step forward, then you're able to say, okay, well, this feels kind of right. I really like this part, but I don't like this part. Okay, that's information. That's information that you can then use and recalibrate a little bit. So if you're trying to find out what your purpose is, sometimes you simply need to make a step forward, and make a step forward in a way that makes you feel excited, right? If it's something that fills you with dread, probably that's not a great option for you. Your soul is telling you, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in going that way. But if your soul starts to say, ooh, or your gut, right, or your heart, it doesn't have to be, your soul itself. That is what is talking to you, but you don't have to think that if you don't want to. But there's something inside of you that's excited. That excitedness is a huge clue that that is the right direction. That is, or at least it's the right direction for now. It might not be what things look like in 5 or 10 years, but it is what it looks like for your next step. And it can get you onto the next step and the next step and the next step, because your life and your purpose can evolve throughout all of these different journeys that we're going through in this life. And I also want to talk about nervousness, because sometimes that excitement can get muddled with nervousness and fear. Usually, often, I'll say often, the thing that is our life purpose can be scary, right? Because it's calling us to be authentically, fully ourselves, and we might be afraid of being judged. This could be because of past lives where we did these sorts of things and it got us in trouble, and maybe our life got ended because of it. And so we're a little scared to do it again. Totally understandable. But when you tap into that nervousness, sometimes that nervousness is actually a good sign that it's the right direction to go in. Just don't confuse that nervousness with a dread sort of a nervousness. You don't want to push your body beyond what it is really comfortable and can manage, but you do want to push it a little bit. You do want to get a little uncomfortable to get yourself moving forward. Other clues you can look at to see what your life purpose is like, think about as a child. How did you like to play? That can sometimes be a clue for people on what their life purpose is, what sorts of games they like to play, or what they were really interested in. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is the thing, but it can be a clue. You can also look throughout your life. These different pieces that you collect and your different experiences can kind of add up. because I know when I look at my life and all of the pieces, they kind of add up. It all makes sense, right? In retrospect, when I was really interested in acting, and that was my original career and major in college. There was group facilitation that I did. There was writing that I did. I studied psychology, even my all my work in human resources, all these little pieces when I kind of break them down and be like, okay, well, this life experience, if I broke it down to components and I was putting together a little kit, a little paint by numbers kit, if you will, and I look at all of the different skills that I developed through these different life experiences that I've had in these lives. If I was going around and collecting little pieces of treasure that were eventually going to add up to something. What little pieces of treasure have you collected? I realize I'm mixing my metaphors. It's okay. Hang in there with me. But do look back through your life and see, well, if I looked at all of these different things that I've gone through in my life, what might these indicate, or what might these be good assets for me to have in a particular type of work? Okay, so those are some ways for you to get some idea about what your life purpose is. If you need more help finding out your purpose, I do one-on-one coaching. So you can go to my website, jillianharrington.com, or you can find another life coach, or you can, you know, set an intention before you go to bed and ask your guides to give you a dream that might help you understand what it is you should be doing. You could go to a psychic. You could, there are a lot of different things, both metaphysical and mundane, that you can do to try to figure out. Hang in there. Okay, now let's say you figured out what your purpose is, or at least you have kind of an idea where you want to get started, or perhaps you already know what your life purpose is and you are terrified to get started. I get it. It can be overwhelming, and sometimes our purpose can be a little out of the norm. But, or even if it is a very normal thing, perhaps because it's such a big change in your life, it can be really hard for you or for other people around you. It might require you going back to school. It might require some sort of sacrifices that can bring up a lot of emotions. But I will tell you, it is better for you to go through it now, to deal with the fear and the uncertainty and the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome that so many of us have to deal with, than it is to deal with it at the end of your life when you didn't do what you planned on doing. That is the worst. I must have experienced that in a past life, because I am so dead against not living my life the way that I had hoped and planned to live. I do not want to get to the end of my life and say, oh, I really kind of wasted that. I ended up just doing a desk job the whole time. Not interested. So I really recommend going for it. But it can be overwhelming. And so, what I really recommend is just looking at what's the very next step. You don't have to worry about where you're going to be in a year, 2 years. You probably don't even know. Like, whatever it is that you're imagining, it's probably bigger than that, or weirder than that, or different than that. You can't always see how things are going to look eventually, and your own self doubt can get in the way anyway. But just look at what is exactly the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. Lee Harris is one of my favorites. And one of the things that he talks about is acorns versus trees versus forests. The idea is that you only need to work on the acorn right now. You don't have to work on the tree or the forest, whatever it is. Like, let's say you're a writer, right? Let's say within you is the great American novel. That's the tree that you want to create. And you start thinking about, well, it's got to be the great American novel. And you put a lot of pressure on yourself. That's a lot. Don't do that. Instead, just look at the acorn that can become the tree. What is the thing that you can do to get yourself started? Maybe it's just getting a regular practice of writing, and maybe you journal. Maybe you just write all sorts of short stories. Maybe you write an outline. Maybe you even just plan what your book would be about. And also let yourself off the hook about it being the next great American novel. You don't have a lot of control over how it is received in the world. You have control over what you can give to the world. And it could be bigger than you imagine. So you don't need to put any limits on it. You just need to listen to what is true for you. What do you have to give? And then how can you get started on it? And when it comes to the fear, you are probably dealing with the fear. Everybody I know deals with the fear. You can find somebody to help you, whether that's a coach that can help you along the way to help you move through the fear. It could be a friend. It could be, maybe if you're a writer, maybe you join a writing group. If you're wanting to start a business, maybe you join a small business organization or sign up for a training program that has a community involved. Find other people that are going through the challenges that you are going through and get some mutual support as you move forward. And I also think there is something to just surrendering and being okay with it and just saying, yeah, I'm uncomfortable, I'm nervous, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if anybody is going to want what I have to offer. And then you just do it anyway. And then you just keep at it and you just keep at it and you get up the next day and you do it again and you do it again. I sometimes like to think about David, right? Michelangelo's The David. When he started, it was a slab of marble. It's not like he was like whoosh, 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 and now all of a sudden there's David. He had to chisel and chisel and chisel away at it. And it didn't look like anything for a long time. A long time. It took him several years to make the thing. But then eventually, right, the form began to take shape. It can take a while. If you are starting a business, for example, if that's your path, and I think probably for a lot of paths, actually, I find that 3 years, right, that can be a little daunting, but give yourself 3 years. We think things have to happen now, or we look at instant success stories around us that things happen like in 6 months or 3 months, or when we post our first YouTube video, everybody's supposed to go wild for it. Really, honestly, it's just slow, deliberate, continual effort, keeping at it, keeping at it, keeping at it. I mean, if your dream was to become a surgeon, think about all of the school and all of the practice you have to go through before you can actually be a surgeon. It's like that for everything. You just have to keep at it. If it's your purpose, I really just recommend surrendering to it and surrendering to whatever it, if it's to God or to the universe or to your soul or to your higher self or whatever your story is, just surrender to it and be like, this is going to be okay. And I'm just going to keep on moving, and it's going to be scary, and it's okay that it's scary. And eventually I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get through this part, and things are going to be better. And then I'm going to feel amazing because I'm going to be living a life that's true to me, true to myself, true to what I really have to give. And I'll feel like I'm actually doing a life that's worthwhile. So I hope that for you. I hope that you find out whatever it is that's going to bring you joy in life and that you're able to use that to help other people. So that's my thoughts on that. Yeah, get at it, get after it, go do it, get going, make it happen. You can do this. You got this. I believe in you.